And from my last video, going back to how my necklaces mean corn, it's all on a sense of Mother Nature and Earth and its energies, because you got to think about this at a time before time when there was no technology, there was no, you know, there was none of the extra stuff. Guess what there was? There was the ability to plant and grow something like corn. And it was the most favored plant of all time. It fed the little seed, just a little seed, fed villages and villages and villages. And it's still feeding villages and villages and villages. It's just like knowledge, still feeding. But getting back to we were on the slave boats at the bottom, living, on this, trying to make the best of this situation. Now I'm gonna clear up a lot for a lot of people. I'm about to, because there was a jewel left in time. Now you can, whoever is the creator of this thingamajig, whoever put it all together, I'll tell them where that story came from. I don't know where they got that story from. I don't know. But I'll tell you where the story actually came from. Now, that's the story of the Titanic. Has anybody ever seen the movie The Titanic? Have you seen it? Yes, everyone has seen it. Unless you're like 3. But I've seen the movie Titanic. And I'll tell you something. Now that I'm fully awake. See, guys, the gift that I have is an ability to open your third eye. Now, this is an actual way to open your third eye, not the bullshit people be talking about. Dude, I actually have that sizzle. But anyways, the movie Titanic, all right? Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm so sorry, but I don't remember the leading actress's name. I'm sorry. But, I don't remember her name. But that story of the Titanic, I'll tell you, that's actually one of the boats. One of the slave ships. That's how it was. I know in history they teach you, that there were these boats and you're chained to the bottom of them or chained around. Nope. The boats were actually like the Titanic. All right? The Titanic. That's what the slave boats looked like. And when we got on, they sent us straight to the basement of them. And we had to stay there because we were poor. And we were, niggers. You know what I'm saying? That whole term nigger, it came from the fact that we told these people that we were hailing from Niger. We told them we were coming from Niger. And they like, oh, these are niggers. Because, Niger and nigger, you'll see it's just a little bit of a misspelling from one to the other. This is actually just miscommunication. They actually started off calling us where we were telling them we were from. Niger. Oh, it's a Niger. It's a Niger. It's one of those Nigers. And then they labeled us so terribly before we made it to the islands. Those goddamn Nigers. Fucking, they're this, they're that. Fucking Nigers. Goddamn Nigers. That's what they meant to be saying. But they were calling it niggers because they were mispronouncing Niger. See how things get all twisted in history, guys? That's why it's important to know history. Cause shit get twisted. You heard? Calling people niggers, and you originally was just trying to call them where they were from, cause you guys didn't speak the same language. So you were doing the best you can. These people said Niger, and you said, "Oh, there's a place up there, nigger." You know what I'm saying? That's how it got broke down. Miscommunication, but not to take from the fact that ultimately the Europeans' term nigger was still intended to mean exactly what it did. You know, bad. They were still saying the same thing. It's just the way they were saying it. All right, where that word actually came from, Niger. All right. So, but the Titanic, yes. The Titanic, this is the thing. What you'll notice often about stories and movies is characters and characteristics often get shifted, changed, took out, or put in of a story. You know, so, you have the ultimate story about Rose Dawson. I remember her character, but can't remember her name. Shame on you. Bad. So you got the main character, Rose Dawson, and then you have, Leonardo, this poor kid who, he got on the boat by luck, and he's in the basement, but he's so curious, and he sneaks out, and he bumps into Rose, and she likes him, and this is so absurd, because she's a rich freaking passenger on this boat, the richest, the most important passenger on this boat. She know the captain and everything. She's big business. And then you got this little poor boy that snuck up here, running around. If they catch his little ass up here, they gonna do him. You know what I'm saying? Now let me clear this up for you. That was, in fact, a slave ship where they had picked us up from Africa and had us on the bottom of them suckers. All right? Leonardo DiCaprio's character was not a white guy. He was one of the slaves. He was one of the slaves in the bottom of that boat, sneaking up, creeping up, trying to, you dig what I'm saying? Leonardo DiCaprio was a black man, and he was one of the slaves on that boat, trapped in there, and he sneak up, and a black guy bumped into Rose Dawson, the lady who was, and they fell in love with each other. The white lady, the really rich, important white lady, and that black little slave boy from the bottom who kept sneaking up, who kept finding ways to sneak up to the floors and try to blend in like some of the other rich black people. Cause they're now, don't get it fucked up. These specific people, these are the children of fallen ancient Egypt. They is the ones on the bottom of that boat. And that's not because of their skin color. It's because they are the children of Egypt that has fallen under this Roman jurisdiction now. That's why they're on the bottom of that boat. They've been demonized. They're black and they're poor now. They're the children of old Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Was it because there's black people that agree with everybody else. Yeah, them demons. You know what I'm saying? That's what you gotta understand now. This is history. There were black people up there with the rich. They're rich. Come on now. You gotta stay woke and stay alive now. Ancient Egypt was down there. So Rose and the black kid, they meet up with each other, and now you gotta see, this is where history begins to repeat itself, guys, because I told you before that Cleopatra ran off with Julius Caesar because she was sick of the way things had been. It got too out of order. Now this big boss lady on the boat, listen, I know, but there's some things that I don't feel entirely comfortable saying. So I won't say some things, but I'll get the big picture for you. I'll get it out there for you. She's a big boss lady, all right, on that boat. She's kind of like Cleopatra, all right? And she was sick of the way of things has been. But this was her camp. But then she bumped into that little slave boy. And she was just so taken aback. There was just something about the little slave boy that just really made her crazy. And this is so absurd. This is an unheard of thing. It's one of those romances in history that really, was a really out of space, really unlikely, like must be soulmate type of stuff. Because how the hell else could one of the little slave boys on the slave ship keep sneaking out and sneaking up to the higher level where all the rich people run into the most important woman on the boat, and she ends up like being in love with him. Like a woman like that would have been conditioned her whole life to think that something like him was the most hideous thing in the world she's ever seen. A woman like that, he's so ugly. Who could love something like that? That's how she was raised. But when she bumped into him, who knows what happened, guys? It's history. Who knows what happened? But I'll tell you what happened, because I'm history. I'll tell you what happened. They started creeping around, dude. I'm not going to go into specifics about how their romance fully came to fruition. But they started creeping around. They was creeping. So I creep, yeah, just creeping on the down low. And nobody ain't got to know. So I creep, yeah, just creeping on the down low. Have to show, because she was married. She wasn't just important, she was married to the most important and had a child. She had a whole family. She was just, back in these times, a woman couldn't be all rich and powerful by herself. She had to have her complementary man with her, and she did. But she was tired of the way that things have been. Personally and politically and socially. She was sick of it. And she bumped into the little slave boy, and then they started creeping. But see, this may get a little graphic for you guys, but I'm gonna actually give you this full piece of history here because it's important. I told you I'm gonna get you the big picture. I'm not going into whole details about certain things, and I have my reasons. But I'm going to get you the big picture. Now you got to understand something now. The lady, Rose Dawson on the Titanic, that lady, and the little slave boy that she bumped into, there was a big age difference. Okay? There was a big age difference. That woman, okay? Now, this is a piece of history. Understand me now. That woman, the big boss lady, she was a young, fully grown woman. All right? 22, 23, if I remember correctly. She was a young woman, fully grown, always had been very mature for her age. So her 22, 23 was really a 60-year-old woman, in a way, as far as intelligence and knowledge and stuff goes. She's way ahead of her time. But 22, 23, now understand, the little slave boy, he was 12, 13 years old, okay? 12 going on 13 when all of this had happened. So he was a preteen, and she is a fully grown woman, all right? When they started messing with each other, it started out. She loved him because he was such a breath of fresh. He's so charming. He's so smart. He could talk. He could speak a little bit of the English and from just watching people and paying. He is very intelligent. He is very resourceful, and he was cute. She was the cutest little monkey she's ever seen, because back then that's what they associate. I mean, shit. They say, some people say that now, but back then it was a really. They weren't playing then. They weren't playing. They're like, nah, you really is a monkey, nigga. Yeah, whoa. Minus the history is dark sometimes, but we'll make it through it. But anyways, he is just the most charmingest little thing she's ever had seen. And then she had caught a glimpse of his thingy, his pee-pee. She had seen it and she was like, what the fuck? She said it's black. And she's like, it's big. And her husband wasn't messing with her because he had got so hung up in drinking and doing drugs and running off with the boys every night, having affairs that she knew about. But back in these times, you honored your husband no matter what. So she just turned a blind eye. But so she, there's nobody. And then she seen the thing and she was like, and I'll tell you, I'll take you guys to a direct scene just because, so you guys can know how it all happened, the big picture. But she just couldn't stop thinking about what it would be like to orally be with the young boy, because she knew that her thoughts were disgusting. She knew that she was wrong. She knew that she had become a terrible person for having these thoughts that she had about this little slave boy. It drove her crazy a little bit, a little mad. So having sex with him, no. That would actually be a pedophile-like molestation, actually, in all terms. She would think to herself, like, no. But she would flirt with the idea of, like, what if I orally, though? Would that... It's not hurting him. It'll make him happy. I just wonder. And she tossed around with that idea so long until one day she cornered him. She cornered him in her cabin. She knew the boys would be out all night. They do that every night, but especially this night. She knew she would have her cabin. She brought that little slave boy to her cabin and she cleaned him like how an owner would clean their dog. You know how you get your dog and get your shampoo and scrub it dub in the bathtub, making sure the puppies, because the puppy be jumping in your bed, and so you want to make sure the puppy is at least clean, gonna be running all in your bed. So you scrub your puppy, scrub dub, my puppy in the bathtub. That's what she did to the little slave boy. She got him in her cabin and she scrub dubbed him in the bathtub. She scrubbed him because she wanted to make sure this little puppy was really clean. So she and she sang to him too while she was doing it. And he was just in heaven. He had never knew anything of a life like this. This was unreal to him. It would have been unreal to anyone. But after she was done scrubbing, she got a hold of that thing, and it was over after that, you can say, in a sense. She had discovered something that she had been missing her whole life and knew it but didn't know it, but just discovered it. You get what I'm saying? A piece of her soul. She had at that moment she had known she had been missing a piece of her soul. And a lady that calculates everything to the T, so masterfully. She got sloppy with the pots, cause she knew she couldn't be around this little slave boy like that, get caught with him. But after she couldn't take it no more, with just the oral, and she started having intercourse with the little slave boy. That's when she started getting sloppy with the plots, you know. She always, because she discovered she was actually a nympho. That's what she discovered by messing with the slave boy. She didn't know that before. She thought she was a prude, but she was actually a nympho. And she was always trying to get it after that. After they started, always, and him too. Shit, but he was her like pet, and he loved being her pet. It was the best life he could ever think of. He was so thankful to God to be her pet. And until they got caught. They got caught. And there was big trouble. And the boy, he did something that he told them that he raped her. He told them that he was raping her. This is actual true history, guys. This is actual, and you could get a lot of it through that movie, The Titanic. But like I said, they switched things, changed to take things out, put things in. They got caught. She got caught having sex with that boy. And it wasn't about the fact that she was having sex with a black person. It was about the fact that she was having sex with one of those slave people. That was like against every law you could think of or something. So this lady that was held at a really high place would have been probably executed. Who knows? Something terrible. The little black boy, he said that he was raping her. He said, yup. And I'd do it again too. I rape her every chance I get. I rape that whore bitch. That whore white bitch. I rape her. But that's because he didn't want her to be hurt, because he knew it was over. So he didn't want nothing to happen to her. So he said that, and they took the boy to the bottom of the boat and they hung him. They hung him and killed him. And after that, the woman had lost her soul, and she swore she would never be the same again. And she swore that she would get revenge for them killing the love of her life, her soul, which wasn't her husband. It was the little slave boy on the boat. She swore revenge, and she had a plan, because she knew something that they didn't know. You want to know what she knew that they didn't know? She was pregnant with the little slave boy's son.